In 2014, the Scots voted against their independence from the United Kingdom. After Brexit, the mood could now look different, and the government there is planning a new referendum. So Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon wants her compatriots to vote again next autumn on whether Scotland should become an independent state, or next year's autumn, better to say. A corresponding referendum on secession from the United Kingdom should take place on October 19th in 2023, Sturgeon announced on Tuesday in the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh. The time has come to put Scotland on the right track. The time has come for independence, she said. As I said, in a 2014 referendum, a majority of the Scots, with 55%, voted to remain in the UK. However, that was before Brexit, which the northernmost part of the UK had rejected with a clear majority of 62%. The supporters of independence therefore hope that the situation will change if there is another vote. The British government's approval is, most people think, actually required for such a vote, which has so far been refused. If necessary, however, Sturgeon intends to arrange the vote in such a way that it can be held lawfully without this consent. Experts expect lawsuits and legal hurdles here. A decision that is made once in a generation, that's how Boris Johnson recently described the process, and he did for quite some time. The British Prime Minister was referring to the independence referendum in Scotland, which last took place, as I said, in 2014, and he's leaning on the 55% of Scots that voted against the secession. For Johnson and his British government, the issue is closed, and that for a long time. It's ironic that Johnson, of all people, is the main reason why many Scots see things differently now. So First Minister Nicola Sturgeon wants to find out how many Scots exactly. And as I said, she announced on Tuesday in the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh that she wants to hold another referendum on the question: should Scotland be an independent country? As I said, she suggested October 19th in 2023 as the date, and in the afternoon her government submitted a corresponding application to the British Supreme Court. Sturgeon's statement followed her announcement a few weeks ago that she wanted to implement her election promise from last year. Sturgeon's SNP won the 2021 election in Scotland with 47% of the vote, and since then she has formed a regional government together with the Greens, who are also pro-independence. Both parties promised to lead Scotland to another referendum. Now is the time, Sturgeon said in a speech that was repeatedly interrupted by heckling and applause. She will never ever allow Scottish democracy to be a prisoner of Boris Johnson. That's exactly what Sturgeon is doing right now. The Tories ripped us out of the EU, she said. In the 2016 Brexit referendum, as I said, 62% of Scots voted against leaving the EU, and the consequences of Brexit, such as the badly battered British economy, are considered the main drivers behind many Scots' desire to be independent. So far, however, there is no clear majority. Since 2016, the Scottish polling institute Scotsen has been measuring the Scots' desire for independence on a regular basis, taking into account several surveys. Accordingly, in autumn 2020, there was a majority for independence, but overall the values fluctuate. Currently, 45% of Scots would vote for independence, 46% against. But Sturgeon knows that as long as Boris Johnson, who is enormously unpopular in Scotland, lives and works in Downing Street, her government has a chance at all. She said on Tuesday that Labour and the Liberal Democrats would also be of no help if the independence issue, if the Tories lost the next parliamentary elections as they deserve. But Westminster's enemy image probably only works with Tories led by Johnson. The current legal opinion of the government in London is that the government in London must agree to a referendum, and Johnson has made it clear several times that he will not do so. Sturgeon, in turn, now emphasized that there would be no illegal referendum with her. Hence the request to the Supreme Court for a referendum, which would not be automatically binding. In other words, should a majority vote for independence, that would not result in independence immediately, but would rather have the values of that kind of referendum. After all, a lot is still unclear, such as whether an independent Scotland would actually rejoin the EU, or we must say join the EU because Scotland as a whole sole nation never was. If the Supreme Court rejects it, Sturgeon said her party will run in the next election solely on the independence question. The election would thus be converted into a referendum. However, Sturgeon herself seems aware that it will not come to that. The Scottish Herald reported on Tuesday that a team of 20 officials had already been assembled in Edinburgh to work on the referendum campaign. It would cost about 1.4 million euros, as they say. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.